that's what it's all about. It's about how you deal with stuff, how you move forward. I mean, you can, be kicked in the shins or, have horrible things happen, but it's how you deal with that, how you move forward.
Welcome to another episode of Everyday Badassery. This is a traveling podcast meant to inspire you to be just 1% more badass today than you were yesterday. And I highlight the stories of adventurous travelers who have overcome things that I meet in my own travels around the world. And I'm so excited for today's really adventurous spirit, because she may have considered herself a really bad athlete growing up, but she just hadn't found her sport yet. And when she did, she became an amazing ski instructor. And she became an amazing outdoor wilderness guide, leading rafting trips down the rivers. And I'm so, let's introduce her really quick.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Jenn Coleman, and I am the co-CEO of Coleman Concierge, along with my partner in life and crime, Eduardo, who is not here to grace us with his presence.
And if you don't know who I am, I'm Christine Lozada. Today I'm filming from the Bahamas. It's beautiful out here. But if you're watching today's episode, the footage you'll see is from a trip I got to be on with Jenn in Washington. We were in Southside Seattle and Bellevue, Washington, adventuring in all kinds of ways. And links to the content and videos of the trip that we went on will be in the show notes as well. But let's dive into her story.
Because you were telling me about the whitewater rafting story when we were at dinner last night, a little bit. Bring me through that. Where were you and what happened?
So I used to be a commercial river guide for several years, and I was guiding the Nooksack River, which is up by Mount Baker and Bellingham area up in northern Washington, northwestern Washington. And the Nooksack River, it starts off pretty fast and furious, fast corners, pool drop. And then the second half is mellower, kind of faster corners, flatter gradient, but log jams, which, they might not understand the danger of the log jam, which is very dangerous. I mean, statistically speaking, more people die in class 1-2 water than they do on class 3 through 5, just because of that complacency of people not recognizing the danger.
That's actually really interesting, because you are not as alert, because there's the assumption that the class is lower.
Absolutely.
So there's a safety.
Absolutely. So, the beginning, it was a very high water day, had to get everyone in the boat, was on the shore, holding the boat for dear life, calling paddle commands, trying to train people how to paddle before I could hop in the boat, because I knew the second I got in the boat, we were taking off and we were going. And so got everyone trained up. Sure enough, got started, made it through the canyon, through the pool drops, all good. It was a beautiful run. Get down, have lunch. Everyone gets very chill. Everyone gets very relaxed. Get back in the boat. Going through the bottom part, we're coming up to a corner. There was a log jam and a rock, and calling the paddle commands, people are not getting it going. They probably missed 2 strokes, and in whitewater, 2 strokes can really make or break you. I mean, 1 stroke can make or break you.
Wow.
And so we started going up on this rock, and I called this command called high side, and that's not as common of a command. We did practice it, but people didn't quite connect that they need to scramble up to the high side to keep the raft from popping over. And unfortunately, the raft did flip. And when the raft flipped, I was on the back side of the raft, heading straight for a log jam, which was absolutely terrifying. And I honestly have no clue how it happened. My buddy Jeff that saw it said I basically rose like Jesus and walked on water, because the next thing he knew, I was like on the back of the raft. I don't even know how I got there. I really do not even remember.
Okay, hold on. 2 questions. One, in case someone doesn't know, what is a log jam?
A log jam is a huge pile of logs that are all piled on top of each other in a corner of a river, or usually in the corner of a river, because it's kind of where all the sediment and everything gets deposited.
Okay. And in this very scary moment, do you remember what you were telling yourself to be able to get through it?
Honestly, no. All I knew is that I had to get my booty up on that boat, and I had to get all those other people's booties up on that boat and keep paddling so we didn't end up in another log jam.
Oh, wow.
So that's basically what happened. You know, got on the boat, managed to paddle away from the log jam just enough to get some other people on with their paddles. We actually paddled with the boat upside down through the part until we could get to like mellower water, get the boat flipped back over, and get everyone back in.
Wow.
So it was on my birthday, and I just remember thinking, wow, I almost did not live through my birthday.
Wow.
Nor did my crew, but thankfully we all did.
I have an important question. How long between that not so great birthday raft and the next time you got in the raft? How much time passed? Like, did it stop you from getting back in the raft?
Oh no, I had a trip to guide the next day.
Oh. Were you at all afraid, or?
The thing of it is, with guiding whitewater, is no matter how good of a guide you are, it's not if you're gonna flip, it's when. I mean, it just is what it is, you know? I mean, it's gonna happen, no matter. So you just prepare for it and do the best you can in the situation. And, you know, when you're in a group, you know, when you're out guiding too, you've got, you know, all the other boats around helping you, you know, getting people in that you're not able to get to and so forth.
Yeah.
But I really think it is a metaphor for life, because at the end of the day, you know, what happens to you and what you go through matter, and it's something you need to make peace with. But at the end of the day, the way you deal with it and the way you move forward is really what matters, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's all about. You know, it's about how you deal with stuff, how you move forward. You know, I mean, you can, you know, be kicked in the shins or, you know, have horrible things happen, but it's how you deal with that, you know, how you move forward.
I love that. Oh, it's such a good message. Can we just do a collective whoa? Whoa. She had a near-death experience on the river while guiding a seemingly simple trip, but people just weren't taking it seriously. And this all happened on her birthday. And she went right back to doing it again the next day. Way to pick herself back up and get back out there. I am so impressed with this story. A reminder, the Badassery Journal is available to you. Take what you're listening to today and put it into action. There's a free download link in the description of this video or in the show notes of this podcast. And if you're wondering, by the way, if you're just listening, what the heck are all these airplane sounds? We're actually located at the Aviation Museum in Southside Seattle, and it's on an airport, so there's a lot of planes going by. But let's hear the next part of her story. Where did your adventurous spirit come from?
Boy, I've always had it, to be honest. My mom always teases me that my very first sentence in this world was, "Do by self, mommy."
Oh, that's so cool.
I've always been fiercely independent. I've been a chronic non-repeater.
Yeah.
I've always just, the minute I turned 18, I was out exploring the world, and that's just how I've always been.
What was your first adventure that comes to mind? I mean, I'm sure millions of adventures, but like growing up, like what was your first like big adventure?
There's two things that I remember most solidly. The first one is growing up, I've always been a terrible athlete, last picked for every single team. And for some reason, and I still remember this, 4 years old, getting on a pair of skis, and all of a sudden having these giant feet, where it's like, wow, I have balance and stability, and I can do stuff that I never could before. And I remember going down the little trail in my little wedge, going up on the side hill and getting a little air and coming back down, and I was like, yeah!
You know what I love about that story, aside from the excitement, obviously, is that there were lots of sports out there that were obviously not working for you.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just finding the one that did. And actually, you don't just recreationally ski. Tell me about your background in skiing.
So I started when I was 4, and since that was the only thing that I could do athletically.
Yeah.
I kind of stuck to that. My mom, being paranoid, put me in ski school.
Okay.
Ever since I was little, and by the time I was like 7 or 8,
Yeah.
I was better than all the other kids. So I'd usually just end up going out with the instructors.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun. My mom jokes that, of course I became a ski instructor because that was all my earliest memories was going out with instructors.
Where did you learn to ski? And then where did you instruct at?
So I learned at Winter Park Mary Jane, and I kind of skied all around the Denver Summit County area. I actually skied for their freestyle team in high school, so
badass.
competing bumps. And then once I graduated high school, I've been everywhere. So I was at Keystone, Colorado, Copper Mountain, Colorado, Crested Butte, Colorado, North Star at Tahoe. Then I believe I went back to Crested Butte and Copper, and then I went out to, after that I went to Washington State, where I was at Crystal Mountain for 1 year, Stevens Pass for 6. That was the longest I was anywhere.
For someone who's like new to skiing or scared of skiing, what do you tell them?
First and foremost, take a lesson, because skiing is literally the most counter-instinctual sport you will ever encounter. Because when you're on your feet, when you're walking down a hill, what do? You lean back.
Yeah.
The steeper the hill, the more you lean back, and you lean back on your heels.
Yeah.
But skis and ski boots are designed to actually have your center of gravity.
I want to just pause on one thing, which is it's not intuitive. But especially as adults, we expect ourselves to have figured it out even before we even tried. And so when we see ourselves fail, and in this instance fall, it's very, very discouraging, and we don't want to do it again. And you're suggesting starting with lessons, and I love that.
Absolutely.
It's not intuitive.
No, and your ski is designed to have your center of balance, your solar plexus area, your pelvis, to be over the balls of your feet at all times. And when you're facing down a snow-covered mountain, looking at the bottom, you sure as heck do not want your pelvis over the balls of your feet. And that's why you need lessons, because it will teach you how to, be centered, how to make the equipment work for you, and how to make those metal edges work for you.
I love that. Okay. Well, actually, when it comes to you adventuring, would you say your most adventurous spirit is with skiing, or would it be the whitewater rafting, or what might it be?
I would say definitely I'm like I said, not a natural athlete at all.
Yeah.
So skiing is the one thing that I took to. I've been on camping and hiking trips with people that I've skied with.
You bike, you whitewater raft, you ski, but you're calling yourself not a natural athlete?
No.
Like what is it that gets you to keep trying or doing it anyway? Because most people who say, I'm not an athlete, and a lot of people say that to me, it is their awesome excuse to no longer try and to not try. So like, why do you keep doing it anyway?
For me, I would say two things. One is addiction.
Okay.
Got very addicted to skiing. Just that feeling of, the analogy I use is it's when you're in the flow, it's only when you lose your mind you can come to your senses. And when you're skiing, when you're diving, when you're doing those sort of activities, you're not thinking about what you need to clean in your house later. You're not thinking about what you're cooking for dinner. You're in the moment. And you're in that flow state. And I freaking love that. Like, I love being in that flow, in that moment. So that's huge. And then the other thing too is that I'm just really bloody stubborn, and I don't like not being able to do things. And I just, so
That's a great mindset. That's a great mindset to have. I love that. Are you a badass?
I would say yes, not to be confused with having a badass.
Why are you a badass?
I'm tenacious as a mofo.
Yes! Oh.
That is my superpower, legit, tenacity. I do not give up. I am like dog with bone.
I am so happy right now. You asked me yesterday what my answer would be, right? Do you know Marissa Sutera?
Yes.
She asked me what the most badass thing I did was, and I answered
I actually didn't have an answer because there were like a lot of things that came to mind. And it's interesting because, and I get it, not everyone identifies with the word badass, but most of the time people won't give them the credit of having done a badass thing. And they'll just say like, oh yeah, I did it, you know, they'll downplay it, but it was a badass thing. But instead I answered her as the most badass thing I do all the time is that there is nothing I can't do. If I want it, I will get it. I'm tenacious, I'm relentless, and I will get it until I either don't want it anymore because something has changed or I get it. Where can people find you?
They can find me all sorts of places. They can find me on our website, which is Coleman Concierge. They can find us on Instagram, Coleman_concierge. We also have a lifestyle Instagram, which is Concierge Corner. And then you can find us also on Twitter and Pinterest as Coleman Concierge without the E. And Facebook lets us keep the E, so we're Coleman Concierge.
Hell yeah. And make sure you check the show notes to find her. All of that info will be in there. Go forth, be badass. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for doing this with me.
Thank you.